Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's finally time to talk about Andromeda's Edge. People, we are finally here. If you haven't heard about the greatest game of all time, the most epic game that gets played at the table every single week, if you haven't heard about Dwellings of Eldervale, why? This game, think of it as a successor, as almost like a 2.0, a continuation, a sequel, whatever you want to call it, to Dwellings of Eldervale. So if you haven't heard about it, links down below to other videos about it. It's gonna be a lot easier for you to understand the mechanics played here in Andromeda's Edge if you have some history, some knowledge already about Dwellings, but if not, don't even worry because I will break it down for you all in all. Now, today we are going to talk about one of the factions that are going to be present in Andromeda's Edge. There are going to be a ton of factions. There's going to be a lot of coverage on this game. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you are because this is gonna be a fun ride. If anything, this is like the most requested content on my channel. We're delivering it. Here we go. Today we're talking about the Tolzeed Porters. The Tolzeed Porters are merchants. They are gonna capitalize on money and advancing along the commerce track. But what is the commerce track, Tim? Well, in Andromeda's Edge, one giant way for you to score points is to advance on one of these 5 tracks. Now, since the Tolzeed Porters have the pick up and deliver ability, they can actually spend 1 credit, which is going to be your wild resource, or 2 of any other resources to move up on this commerce track. Now, what's really cool about this track is the higher that you go up, then the more points that you'll score for all of your resources by the end of the game. You're gonna invest in this early on, so that way it rewards you at the very end. But that's not the only thing that this track does. Every other track also specializes in an asymmetric dwelling, also known as developments here. And you heard me correctly, asymmetric dwellings. In the past, in Dwellings of Eldervale, when you built a dwelling, it didn't have a specific ability. It just scored you points for the surrounding areas. But here, those developments have unique abilities. Like in the commerce track, you have spaceports. Spaceports allow you to convert any 2 resources to any other 3 resources. Now, how is that relevant, you ask? Well, every time you launch a spaceship, you actually gather resources from that planet. You gather a moon, and the moon is equivalent to different resources that you would gain when you go visit a specific region in Dwellings. So it's another way for you to gain resources and another way for you to exchange them as you're building spaceports. But now, back to the main question, what do the Tolzeed Porters specialize in? Well, normally you have to visit a specific allied base, which allows you to buy these modules. You take these modules and you place them into your player station, your space station. That becomes your engine builder, and you add more and more modules as you play in the game. But as you upgrade modules, you also advance in whatever color that you bought. So if I buy a yellow track, a commerce track, then I'll go up the yellow commerce track. However, the Tolzeed Porters bypass that. The Porters can speed up the commerce track by spending 1 wild resource, aka credits, or 2 of any other resource in order for them to advance along that track. They don't always have to buy a yellow module to go up the yellow track. Bam. Now the Tolzeed Porters have a second ability. Not only can they advance up the commerce track pretty quickly, they can also, when they launch to the Odessa field or the Maximus field, they launch a ship there. What you can normally do is, let's say I go to the Odessa field, I can buy a yellow module or a blue module, which is the civilization track, which is blue. However, for them, they can bypass that, and regardless of whether they go to the Odessa field or the Maximus field to buy one of these, they can go to either field and buy any module. So I can go to the Maximus field and then buy a yellow module. Now I know what you're thinking. That's cool, Tim, but how is that relevant in a real game? Well, if you are a passive type player, if you like to avoid combat, if you like other ways to convert and expend your resources, they're gonna be a great faction for you, because when you go to this field, you can bypass any other requirement and buy whatever you want. Just like in Dwellings, if a player already occupies this space, I can't go there for my first launch. What I can do instead though is go here and still buy a green and brown module. It gives you a lot of flexibility when you are positioning your spaceships. Now the whole point, the goal of Andromeda's Edge is to score points through a variety of ways, through combat, through advancing along these tracks, through building different developments. There are a multitude of ways for you to score victory points. So we have Pick Up and Deliver, which adds to your resource conversion toolkit. And then we also have Trade Routes, which adds to your purchasing power. But all these factions have a third asymmetric ability. What they also do is they have unique ships. So just like in Dwellings where you have dragons, wizards, and warriors, here we have heavy cruisers, we have science vessels, we have fighters, and transporters. The Tolzeed Porters have a unique heavy cruiser, let me grab it for you real quick so you can see, called the Merchant Skarn. They have an ability called Profiteering. Every time you launch this heavy cruiser to any alliance base, you automatically gain 1 credit. Oh, wait a minute, credit? Didn't they use credit for something? That's right, they have Pick Up and Deliver, where they can use that credit that they gain in order to advance along the tracks and to do everything else involved with the faction that utilizes commerce for their main ability. Look at how interconnected that is. Accumulate your resources properly, and the Tolzeed Porters are going to be a faction to be reckoned with. That wolf pack is a first look at one of the factions in Andromeda's Edge, the Tolzeed Porters. Now, more importantly, let me know down below if this is a faction that you think you're going to be playing. Are you the type to play merchant type classes? Are you looking for something more aggressive, something more defensive? Maybe you're looking for something that utilizes you losing in combat in order for you to advance more in the game. There is a faction just like that, which we'll talk all about in upcoming videos. So like I said, got a ton of really fun content coming for Andromeda's Edge. I hope you enjoyed this little snippet about what's to come for Andromeda's Edge. I'm super stoked for this game. I cannot wait. You all have been asking about it. I've been asking about it, and here we finally are. So I'll see you all in the next one.